It's another beautiful Sunday afternoon. This is Robin Minds. Welcome. My name is Ebuka Obiuchendo. We have an interesting show for you as usual on the show today. We're going to be starting our first show in March, isn't it? Yeah, it's a brand new month for us right here, and we're going to be starting off as usual with the week that was. And I have here with me Lerna Debute. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks, Ebuka.
Starting off or not, I don't know if to call it interesting or it's been a very weird story that's followed us over the last week plus, and it's a case of S.A. Oruru, a story that was broken by Punch newspapers and became this social media and nationwide phenomenon, you know, about this girl who was allegedly abducted from Bayelsa and taken as a wife by Eunice Sayelo, I think, and then she's been found and reunited with her family, but all of these stories have come up after that with regards to whether she's pregnant and whether she was actually in love, and you know, there's so many sides to this thing, and the man is actually saying he's not guilty. What has been your take on all of this so far?
First, we need to congratulate Nigerians, especially the press, for following the story through, putting the right kind of pressure on the authorities to do what they could have done in a few days, even though it took them this long, but we are thankful that Nigerians maintained that pressure. Yeah. I think I want to believe in the judicial process, right? And our laws are very clear on the age of consent as it relates to marriage. So we leave the courts and the authorities. The man has been arrested, as I gather. We believe that the process will go through, and we're encouraging the press and Nigerians to follow that story through. Now that we're thankful that SA is back home, let us also be sure, let us also follow through to ensure that justice is done to this really, really ridiculous individual. But like I always maintain, the law presumes innocence, even though there is a bit of clarity as to where this should go, but the law presumes innocence, and let's wait for the law to...
But isn't it a little curious for you, especially... It's so weird that apparently a lot of people had knowledge of what was happening, but nobody acted until, like you said, Nigerians spoke up. I mean, there's an angle, the police angle to it, there's an Emirates angle to it in Kano. We've heard all of these things about how they all knew what was happening, but nobody wanted to act until this story broke and Nigerians spoke up. What does that say about the maybe hundreds of thousands, maybe, who are also caught in this situation, who nobody's doing anything about?
It's terrifying, really, to picture that those allegations could remotely be true. There are allegations. I mean, the extent of knowledge of the Emirates, the police and all that, we cannot determine here. We have, I don't know. But it's a terrifying imagination to have. Yeah. That the remote possibility of it tells us how much this nation is still far from civilization, really.
Yeah. Just to put it in context here, Punch also has in their front cover reports of people or girls who are still missing, who were abducted. Now, there's a name here, Progress Jacob, new name Aishat, date stolen January 26th, age stolen 13. Stolen where? Bauchi. Second, Blessing Gopep, new name Miriam, date stolen August 2015. Age stolen 12. That was last year. Linda Christopher, new name Aisha, date stolen November 2015. Age stolen 16. Lucy Eje, new name Leusa, date stolen October 2009. Age stolen 15, which means she's 20 now. And this is just, they put these 5 girls on their cover just to put things in context for Nigerians to understand how deep this story is. So as much as we are excited about SA, it runs much deeper than we think.
Absolutely, you're correct. And like I said, it's scary. But, you know, the progress here is that for the first time, these names are out. For the first time, the reality of this issue...
And parents are able to now speak up and say, oh, my daughter is also missing.
Exactly. And now I think it goes back to the authorities, because we have the arms of government and they need to play their role. But as citizens, we need to have a unified front. Same way we are unified against other things like corruption and Boko Haram and all that. We need to channel the same level of energy to ensure that this is nipped, not nipped in the bud, because this is like organized crime, really. This is curtailed, you know. And really, to the authorities out there, to the big shots that are involved in this, a note of moral reasoning here. It could be your daughter. How would you feel if someone was to take your daughter and make her a wife when she's just 10? Yeah. I mean, it's not. It scares me what I could do to such a man. Really. Yeah. I'm on air, so a few things cannot come out, but it scares me what I would do as a parent to someone who abducts my child at 10 and calls her his wife. It's unimaginable.
I know it's a very sensitive issue, but I mean, it throws up a lot of things with regards to our laws, you know. There are parts of the country where Sharia law is practiced, and they believe that that should hold supreme. But when you look at our constitution and, you know, the laws for the most part of the country with regards to age of consent and all of that, how do we begin to work to make sure that we don't have this sort of diversity where these conflicts continue to throw themselves up and people hide behind certain laws?
Actually, there's no conflict. When the emir was confronted, Sanusi, concerning the Ese case, he did mention that, that the age of consent in Nigeria by law is 18. And every other law is subservient to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Every culture is to the extent of inconsistency with the Constitution, no. Okay, so there's no controversy here at all. The controversy may be in the forcefulness with which the law enforcement agencies are, you know, driving to fruition the body and the truth of the Constitution. It's more in the execution of it. There's no ambiguity in the laws concerning consent for marriage, particularly as it relates to girls, you know.
Okay, I mean, it's, like I said, it's a very, I don't even know how to feel about this. I mean, we're happy for Essie and her family, but I mean, it has thrown up so many other things, and we just hope that these abductions at least stop for now, and we can start recovering the ones and reuniting them with their families and all of that. But let's move on now to something else that continues to reoccur in this country, the issue of fuel and its availability or the lack of it. And I know it was one of the most discussed issues during the campaign of Mr. President Buhari, talking about how the last government had failed and needed to, you know, the subsidy was a big issue for the last government. Most people said they lost their goodwill as soon as that happened. You know, the subsidy issue happened in 2012 and all of that. Why are we not able to get fuel again in 2016? Are we do we have to live with this? Because I mean, it looks like it's never going to go away.
Why are we? why don't we have fuel? I don't know, really. It's I'm not an expert in the sector. I'm a consumer, and from a consumer standpoint, it doesn't make any sense.
It makes no sense.
Globally, the price of crude is down, so you'd imagine that supply shouldn't be an issue anymore because it's cheaper to buy. It's cheaper to, you know, there's a glut in the global market for crude. So you'd imagine that all the derivatives from crude should be available at cheaper prices. In Nigeria, it appears that the reverse is the case. So it's almost like there's a controlled supply into the market to create a disequilibrium so that the marketers of the product can still make some gains on the sideline. This is my theory to it. It makes absolutely no sense from an economic standpoint that we should have a scarcity. From a policy point of view, well, I do not think, all due respect, but I do not think that sector deserves to be an appendage of the presidency. I think Nigeria as it is complex enough for Mr. President to manage, and I think there's an obvious gap in having him play the role of the Minister of Petroleum Resources while at the same time being president at the same time. So I think the time has come for him to rethink that decision to be Minister of Petroleum and hand that over to someone who can give devoted attention and focus to that sector. It's critical both from a policy standpoint and now it's going to the streets. So this is absolutely unforgivable. It's a breach of trust, if you ask me, because there were a lot of campaign promises, and I thought that the easiest one to fulfill should be this one. I mean,
it looked like it was gone away for some time.
Yes, we didn't have fuel scarcity for a long time.
Then it came back in December, and now it's back again.
Yeah, I mean, and then in this administration, 6 months down the line, we've had two really, really serious scarcity that is happening in Lagos. You could hear about them in the north or some, but in Lagos, it's ridiculous. I got lucky. My car stopped at the filling station.
So you just pushed it in.
I just pushed it.
With a tear in your eye.
I mean,
I just came in from the east this morning. So, I mean, I was there for about 2 nights, and I did have to drive around a bit. And the one thing I noticed, there were no queues at all. Anambra State, Imo State, at least I went to those 2 states. But the cheapest fuel was sold for was 120 naira. And you just had to drive in, and pay and leave. Does that say something about where we should be leaning towards now? Maybe market forces should start determining it as against the fiat.
Yeah, that's the deliberate disequilibrium that I talked about. You see, the pendulum works like this. So price regulates, and in between there's the interplay of demand and supply. So now you have created a supply gap. So what then? The adjustment is in price. So because the price goes up, a lot of people don't want to buy in the quantity they need to buy anymore. It creates a new equilibrium point at a much higher price. So this is why I feel that it is deliberate, because there's absolutely no reason globally why fuel should be scarce. So if it is scarce in Nigeria as a major producer of this product, there's a problem. It's a policy issue, not a market issue.
Yeah.
So there's something really, really missing from a strategic standpoint and from a ministerial standpoint. Something is wrong right now with the body of the body responsible for ensuring that the products are available.
Thank you very much, Leonard. There's always a lot to talk about with regards to Nigeria, but we'll have to wrap it up here. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much.
When we come back, we'll be talking more right here on Rubbing Minds. Please stay with us.